Hi, and welcome back to another episode of Sages of the Ages, Remembering Forgotten Wisdom, or the Sage Seeking Sisters. I'm Jackie.
And I'm Stacy.
And today we have with us
Mary Lou Berger.
Welcome to our channel.
Thank you for being here,
Yes.
Mary Lou.
Please remember to like, subscribe, and share. And the first question that we want to start with is, what do you feel has been the purpose of your life?
My goodness, the purpose of my life, there are a lot of purposes, but the one is to bring joy to people, to make them happy, and to make myself happy.
Yes.
That's very important.
Right. Yeah.
Very important.
That's wonderful.
And what are some of the things that you feel you've done to create that happiness for others or for yourself?
Well, being a journalist and writing, I bring joy to people. I worked in public relations, and I did a lot of interviews with people for different stories about their lives and about what they do and what their hobbies are, and then we print them, and it makes people so happy.
Yes.
When you ask people about what their
Yeah.
interests are, they just open up,
Yeah.
and that makes me happy because I'm making them happy.
Yeah.
Because everybody has a story.
Right?
Everybody does. Everybody
We're
has
on
a
the
story.
same wavelength.
Yeah.
Yes.
For sure.
Aw.
And now it's your turn. You've done this a lot for other people. Now it's your turn to share. So this is great.
And love, I think, it's great. It's the greatest gift of all, to be loved and to give love.
Yes.
And I don't mean it one-on-one. I mean generally
Yeah.
to the world. You accept people for who they are, and you love them for who they are. And it brings you joy too.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And we are called to do that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think has been like the biggest difference from the time when you were growing up to today, or the challenges that you think young people are facing today?
Well, I think it's a different world. When I was young, I had a lot of freedom.
Yeah.
I could go out and get on a trolley. I lived in the city, and I could get on a trolley, and I could go places with my girlfriends, unaccompanied by adults, and come back, and nobody worried about me. I could do that. I had a lot of freedom.
Yeah.
Today, young people don't have that kind of freedom. They live in suburbs. They may not live in the city. They have to be taken wherever they're going because they don't drive. And so I think that makes a difference in the way in which I matured and the way in which they're maturing, because they just don't have the same experiences.
Sure.
Yeah.
And when I was 18, I was ready to leave home. I mean, I could do it. I knew how to do it. But today, the kids, I don't think, are really quite as ready as I was. I mean, they
Sure.
do leave home, but they go into places like colleges or schools or what have you, where they don't have to be on their own.
Right.
I think that's a big difference that I've noticed
Yeah.
in the generations.
Yeah.
And it's too bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's almost like they're not as equipped, or they can't find like the resources per se, because they haven't been forced into figuring things out as much.
Right.
Yeah, so it's a little bit of a delayed adulthood then.
Yeah.
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 And I lived walking distance from the biggest library in the city.
Oh,
And so I could go over there with my friends, and we would hang out, and I would look through books, and I really got exposed to a lot of
yeah.
cultural things
Yeah.
that young people today might not be. I mean, they get taken to Little League games, they get taken to soccer, they get taken to wherever they're going,
Yeah.
but I just could walk.
Right. Right.
So that's a big difference.
And you utilize the library too.
I
so
did.
Yes.
that's important
Yeah.
piece
Yes.
of it.
Sure.
I actually got a master's degree in library science.
Oh, that's
Nice.
beautiful.
Eventually, not
Yeah.
then, but eventually.
That's great. It's great.
I don't know if that's the biggest difference I see
Mm-hmm.
in my life and the lives of my nieces and nephews and
Sure.
people
Yeah.
that I love.
Sure. And so for yourself, do you have any wellness routine that you do like in the mornings or throughout the day for yourself?
Well, I always did. I used to belong to a gym, and I did that, and I swam, and I walked half an hour every day. I walked,
That's
but now I have some back issues that make it a little more difficult to do that. I try to walk. I try to go to yoga.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Chair
is good.
yoga. Can't get down on the floor anymore. But
modified.
Yeah.
We change as we get older. Things
Sure.
happen.
Yeah.
And what you have to do, I think, is adjust to those changes and do whatever you can do. And it's important to just keep moving.
Yes.
Move it, move it, move it.
Oh, I like
Move
it.
Move it, move it.
That's so true.
Yeah. I mean, so I do what I can, even though I don't have as many options as I did when I was younger.
Sure.
And this is something, it's not just in physical, spiritual, and wellness. Spiritual's always there. That's a good thing. But it's also in things like, I lost my thought.
That's okay.
This happens when you get older, young people.
Speaking the truth.
Brain freezes. You get brain freezes. Options like traveling. You know, I traveled a lot, thank goodness, because now, not so much. And of course, COVID really interrupted that.
Sure.
For sure. But now that we're kind of open again and I have options to travel, I'm not physically as able as I once was. So my advice to young people is if you want to travel, don't wait till you retire because you don't know what's around the corner.
Right. That is such great advice.
Yes. We live it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And traveling is such a wonderful opening experience because you learn other cultures.
Yes.
You meet all different people who share many of your values and concerns and so on. But it's just a wonderful experience to travel if you can.
Yeah. Totally agree with that.
Okay. What else?
What do you think's been the biggest thing you've had to overcome in your life?
Wow. That's a hard question.
That is a big one.
I mean, there's always obstacles. I always like to say life is a series of hills and valleys. And when you're on a hill, you have to recognize it and be happy and share that joy. But then around the corner, there's going to be a valley. And you just have to accept that.
Sure.
And figure out how to get out of that valley and back up on the hill. Challenges. What the hardest thing I had to do? Gosh, taking care of my father, parenting my parent. I think that was the hardest thing I've ever had to do, really. He was at the end of his life. He had lung cancer and he was pretty sick. And so, you know, when you go in there, no parent wants their child to tell them what to do.
Of course. Yeah.
Right.
And having to deal with that was difficult. But we did it. My brother and I, we did it. And we shared the responsibility, thank goodness, and it worked out. I mean, he eventually passed away, but his last years, we were there for him. And that will happen, should happen. I mean, if you value your family.
Right.
And fortunately, my husband and I shared that value. We always took care of his mother. We took care of my father. And those were very difficult times. Those were hard. But we got through them, and I have no regrets.
Yeah, I was going to say, you don't get that time back, so that you were able to do that is precious as well, for sure.
Yeah, that was a difficult time. But other than that, you know, then my husband died. But his death, he was easy. I mean, that sounds terrible, but he was very concerned about me and prepared, and he prepared me, and that was good. I mean, it wasn't good that he died. I'd rather have him here, but it was a lot easier. It was different. It was quite different. One of the things I noticed when we were taking care of his mother, my husband's mother, she wouldn't listen to him, but she'd listen to me. And when I was taking care of my father, he wouldn't listen to me, and he'd listen to my husband.
That's pretty funny.
They weren't the child.
That's
Right,
right.
Children.
Right. Yeah.
That
so the
dynamic
buffer.
wasn't there.
Yeah.
It's just a little thing I've noticed
Yeah.
in the years that I've lived.
Yeah, that's interesting. And not to take it personal. Like
Right.
It's just, it's comfort for them. Oh, well, is there any last wisdom you would like to share?
I have some thoughts that I wrote down when I knew I
Okay,
was going to do this.
Yes, share them.
We all have 2 eyes, 2 ears, and 1 mouth. And that means we should listen more and pay attention more and talk less. That's just a little piece of advice. The other thing is save your money. Always save money, because when you retire, the greatest freedom is to have enough money to not have to depend on other people.
Mhm.
And Albert Einstein said compound interest is the greatest invention. So if you're putting away $12 a paycheck, or more if you could, it gets interest, and over the years it compounds, and then eventually you can take the leap into investing. Because it's amazing. When I left where I was working, I had a small amount in my 401k. These are words you'll learn as you get older. And by the time I retired, that little bit really grew. I didn't take it out. I didn't do anything with it. But just because of compound interest, it really grew. So today, I'm not wealthy, but I'm comfortable, and I know I have enough to get by. These are things that I thought about when I knew I was going to be doing this podcast. Let's see, I wrote some notes down here, but those are the 2 things I wanted to pass on, and I've passed those on to my nieces and nephews.
It's good
That's
advice.
very good advice.
My husband was unemployed for a while, and we were living on my salary, which, was okay. But I always put away. I remember I didn't have a whole lot at that time. It was early on. And I put away $12 a month every month.
Wow.
It's not hard.
Right.
It's not hard to do.
Right.
But it'll make such a difference as you grow older in your life.
Yeah. That whole pay yourself first. That's what that means. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great
This
advice.
is very useful.
I'm so glad you
Very
said that.
helpful, yes.
Sorry.
Okay. One of the things when I talked about your eyes, your ears, and your mouth, and talking less, people have so many interesting things about their lives and things that they have to say. So, things that they're grateful for, and just ask people about themselves. I had breakfast the other morning at a table where there was this gentleman who never talked at all. And it turns out he was hard of hearing. So I said to him, "What did you do before you retired?" Well, he taught and eventually ran the largest college for deaf people in the United States.
Wow.
Now this is a really interesting story.
Yeah.
So I just kept asking him questions. He just opened up. He was happy to talk about his wonderful career.
Aww.
So
Oh, and that probably made his day too, that you showed an interest in him.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. So I hope this helps.
Oh,
It does. Yes.
Yes.
Thank
Very
you
much
so
in
much.
alignment with our values.
Yes.
Huh?
Yes,
Thank
for
you.
sure.
Thank you. And please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Take care.